economy is like thriving, so it's not like they're hurting.
Yeah.
And they have nothing to do with terrorism or had anything, knock on wood, on the hope that nothing happens now. But nothing happened.
That's insane.
And he made his big comment, well, Sweden, yesterday, blah, blah, blah. Well, nothing happened in Sweden.
What, like, is he all right? Sometimes I wonder if he's okay in the head, or if, somebody who runs his social media is an imbecile, or, like, if he runs it personally.
He has his hands, like, a lot on social media, like he does it himself. But whoever does, has many, many advisors, I'm pretty sure he has many. The list can go on, but whoever advised them of this scenario was definitely someone that needs to be evaluated for some mental issues.
That's quite disturbing. To be honest, it really makes people either A, wonder if people in Sweden are going to be okay, B, whether Donald Trump is okay in the head and capable of running a country.
Yeah.
And
what Sweden has responded with all kinds of stuff on Twitter and like all over social media, and like basically making fun of Donald Trump, like all kind of memes, or like all kind of like it's a real huge joke in Sweden right now.
Really, See, I'm not huge on Twitter, so I don't usually catch all that crazy stuff that goes on, but I haven't even seen that. I'm gonna have to check that out. That's nuts.
Yeah, it's a huge joke. Like, it's another knock on him that is gonna make his presidency, his term, a very more short term.
Yeah, like he's just, I don't know. I had high hopes. I really hoped.
I had high hopes because of he's being realistic, but you know what? Some of his stuff is like, come on now, be real.
Well,
not being ridiculous.
I seen somebody on social media post the other day about how they thought that he was just a master manipulator, and that he was just really good at mimicking what he thought people would vote for, and that he wouldn't actually go through with half of the things he said with his campaign because they were just
he's doing exactly what he said.
Yeah, and he's running with it, and you know what? It's a scary thought because he really isn't. In certain terms, he just rename their Obamacare to Trump Care?
Something like that. But it's funny because originally one of his campaign promises was to eliminate the healthcare system because it was, hurting their economic, like the money basically, hurting them, that we had to pay out so much for everyone to have healthcare. But you know what? We have that here. We have universal healthcare.
I wonder if he made any adjustments to it, or if he just renamed it.
I'm sure he made some kind of adjustments.
Because that's like, to be honest, it just seems like a business thing for him, you know what I mean? Like, he really doesn't think anybody can touch him now. He posts, absurd things on social media, apparently. And, it really does show his real character, and, it's a real shame. I honestly had high hopes, but I'm losing faith.
Well, I don't think it was faith to begin with.
I was hoping, I always give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
I knew he'd be good for the economics of North America, because it's going to affect us as well. Whatever he does, just like will affect us here.
Yep.
Economically, it's been amazing. Like the stock markets have been up constantly. There hasn't been any drops. Even here, the TSX has been up constantly since he was elected.
Yep.
But how long would that last? There's only so much, with the numbers, and then Ralphie's going to kick in and say, this guy's a complete moron.
Well,
and either someone's going to assassinate him, or he's just going to get impeached because they're running a list on this guy right now.
Well, because, you know what, to be honest, he's had more public assassination threats than any president in history of presidency, I believe, and...
Yeah, and he hasn't even been done it for a month yet.
And yeah, exactly, right? Like, that's sad. Like, and people nowadays just don't seem to care. Like, they post this stuff, there was a man arrested not long ago, I believe, for making, a few people actually were, for making probably, unrealistic, joking style, not so funny death threat comments on Twitter, but they ended up getting arrested, for them, which rightfully so. If you're going to act and post like you're, a narcissist or sociopath, then you should be arrested, or at least evaluated. But, it's definitely, it says something about him, because, people don't act that way unless they have severe, hate for somebody, and people really run with the sheep mentality like we've spoken about, but at the same time there's obviously some sort of ground reason as to why they feel so angry. Right?
You know what? But then you know what? If we wouldn't have people like him, us people in the media would not have a job or have something to talk about.
Oh, it's true, right?
Because media loves stuff like this. It's like, Carlos Soul, Rob Ford, media thrived on him because every day he would say or do something stupid.
Yeah, no.
Or do something absurd, or do something that he would promise. Like, he said the gravy train has to stop, and the taxes and stuff, and he did everything what he said.
Yep.
So you know what? It's the media loves that because we have something to talk about. Would be very boring topics.
Yeah, maybe they'll keep CHCH in business.
I don't know about those guys. That's another can of worms.
Because you know what? To be honest, I honestly, there's a lot of things that are being cut out of, the regular way of doing things nowadays. Like, in terms of businesses, there's a lot of places that had local, walk in to go shopping kind of business and are turning into nothing but e-commerce. And, it's kind of interesting.
The mom and pop shops are slowly dying off.
Yeah, and it's sad because you know what? I find there's a lot more small local shops and things of that sort making more money either online or suffering because of bigger commercial places. But even the commercial places I find nowadays are going to cut back in terms of certain things or having smaller stores or whatever the case may be. I'm seeing because a lot of places that were like, I can't remember exactly which stores, but there's a few big ones in the States that just closed down recently and are nothing but online. And they were like Walmart equivalent kind of stores,
Well, that's what Walmart, taking over monopolizing, right?
Yep, no, it's true. And I always say if, those, online, sales kinds of businesses where they have, their websites and stuff of that extent, I always say if they would, lower their prices to equivalent to commercial, big retail stores, that they would be more successful, right? Like places like what are some of those things, Avon and Arbonne and all of that stuff, right?
The problem is with these, like, they have to have online shops is because the volume that they take compared to, like, say, a Walmart, that's why they can have such lower prices at Walmart, is because of the volume quantity, right?
Yeah.
Like if they order 1,000, I can order one, well, they're going to get a better deal.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true because you know what? It's in terms of, but that's what I'm saying though, is maybe people would shop more online because even me, like, we have a deal going on the radio right now with Chef's Plate, and it's more of a grocery delivery kind of company, and I've used it a bunch of times, and to be honest, it saves me a lot of time. Right? Yeah. Like, I can have my groceries picked with recipes delivered right to my front door, like, 2 times a week.
See, just with me, I think I'm just a little more old school. I want to pick my fruits. I want to pick my veggies. I know which ones I want, which I know is good or not good, compared to, like, you think maybe, your kind and what I want will think is 2 different things.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I want to pick my stuff. Just like, the meats. You know what? I don't buy my meat at the grocery store. I refuse to buy my meat at the grocery store. I'll go to the butcher shop.
Really, eh?
Butcher shop.
And what's your reasoning for that?
Quality. Like when you go to a butcher shop, you ask them for the meat. Like you say you want steaks. They'll go to the back and cut it. It's right there in front of you. Not you go to the grocery store, it's already pre-packed on that styrofoam plate.
True. So you're talking about actual chicken and steaks and stuff of that extent.
Yeah, like quality stuff. Like so when it comes to the meat, the butcher is the best way to go. He'll give you the best cuts. And they only buy the best kind of meat from the supplier. They're not going to get every, who knows where they found this cow and whatever. Like these big name stores, they take care of everything, whatever it is, good, bad, who cares?
Yeah,
they need to have a stock.
I actually watched something recently that completely turned me off almost from even buying meat anymore because I watched this documentary about I don't know. I was always a real big animal lover. I believe in humane treatment, and you don't do things wrong in an inhumane manner, right? So, anyways, I watched this video online, and it was about an undercover story about a man who was working in, I guess it would be like slaughterhouses where they have them live and then they actually, do everything on site. So anyways.
I'm pretty sure I saw the same one, and that was in the States.
I believe it was in Ohio or something of that extent.
Again, people do apologize to our American, listeners and so forth, but we have a little bit of a higher standard here.
Yeah, no,
things in Canada.
It's totally true. But what I seen was completely disturbing. Like the way they treat the animals, for the entire duration of their life there, and they're very inhumane with the way that they put these animals down. They don't really, euthanize them or anything of that extent. It's very cruel and like I said, inhumane, right? So it's one of those things where you're right. You want to see how the meat is getting to you. I always say that's why I like my Tower Garden thing that I have, because I always say that food is very well traveled. It's gone through a lot of.
Because, tomatoes from Chile or whatever. But who knows how long it's been on that truck for? Who knows how many people touched it?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is it's very much flash frozen and, long term kept in, whether it be boats or transport trucks to get to wherever it needed to be.
And it comes from a third world country, so you gotta know that their standards is a lot lower.
Well, and think about how long it takes to order something online, and typically if you pay for regular shipping, how long it takes to get here.
Yeah, weeks.
Right? And, if you're doing that with food, it's a little gross. Like, I had a friend who worked at La Coco's, which is, meat grocery store and stuff of that extent, and he said that, like, the way that they prep the meat, like, if it starts to go, like, that brownish color, that they re-soak it in blood, and, yeah, it's pretty gross.
Yeah, no, see, so that's why the grocery stores said stay away from.
Yeah, I was like, ew, that's nasty.
Shop, you may not have, the meat every day there, well, that's because they have it fresh, nonstop.
Yeah.
Like if you get there at 5 o'clock in the evening, you may not get those nice steaks because they've already sold out.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna leave them there from before or whatever. It's always constantly fresh cuts and.
No, that's good though. At least you know that it's well taken care of and it's fresh, right?
Exactly.
No, it's funny because you know what? Food standards are huge nowadays. People are being very careless with our food. I'm a very organic, GMO-free type of. I guess you could say I'm a little bit of a paranoid, like.
Yeah, well, definitely paranoid. It's funny you bring up the word paranoid, especially now. I'm paranoid of eating rice.
Really?
I don't know. Have you seen these videos? In China, the rice is not really rice. It's plastic bags they put into these kind of like, I don't know, like mince machines, and they chop it up and it looks like rice. And it's actually plastic bags.
What?
And they're selling it as they're putting it in rice bags and think it's rice and authentic, rice. But when you cook it, or what happens with plastic when you heat it, it starts melting. So people are taking videos of this rice, like when they cook it, rice in quotations, rice, and it's like deteriorating and molding together. One lady I saw, she put it together as a ball. She started bouncing it.
That's disturbing.
Yeah.
That is so gross, and that is like, you know what? To be honest, nowadays, like, people are doing some pretty interesting things with our food. And, I always make it a priority now to check labels more than ever. And, a lot of the things are.
What you're eating.
Yeah, no, to be honest, like, there's a reason that, cancers and diseases of that extent are so high at this point in our generation and stuff like that, because.
It's all the chemicals that they pump into these foods.
Well, yeah, they say that, have you ever heard of the term paraben?
Yes.
Okay, so they say that is linked actually to breast cancer and different hormone cancers of that extent. So because it's in all of our cosmetics and things of that extent, that's why females and younger girls are mature. Yeah. Well, they're maturing more quicker. If you don't notice that, a lot of.
Oh yeah, like comparatively.
It's pretty.
When I was at it, younger, they didn't look like that they are now.
Exactly, right? So, it's.
I DJ'd a confirmation party. So confirmation, it's part of the Catholic religion, but they usually are about grade 7s.
Grade 7s, yeah.
Maybe